reputation of the Bar Association and the image of the profession as lawyers itself since the Kenema AGM last year to now?
Well, thanks for having me in the program.
We find ourselves in a very unfortunate situation as a company, the Bar Association company. For a very long time, I mean, I have to be very frank, for a very long time, a good number of the membership of the bar have not actually been satisfied with how the association or the executive members of the association, have been carrying out the functions in terms of making sure that they address issues relating to governance. And so there has been kind of a pent-up anger over the years. I've been with that for like 10 years now, so I know exactly what I'm saying. We have had elections over the years where members really felt aggrieved, very, very angry. And we've had also situations where the general membership would want the executive to take some very critical decisions on national issues, but those decisions are not forthcoming. So, like I said, it has been a pent-up anger for a very long time. And what happened in Kenema is just like the last straw, that actually broke the camel's back. And like I said, it's unfortunate, and all of us, as lawyers, should bow our heads in shame because it does not represent the profession. I mean, all of you saw the videos, how lawyers were at each other's throat, how, I mean, the conduct itself generally was really, really very much unprofessional, and it was done in few view of the public because cameras were all over the place. So it's a regrettable moment, and it is the responsibility of the new executive to try to clean up the image of that, of the reputation of the bar, because there is a very serious cloud hanging now over the Bar Association. And so it calls for maturity, it calls for unity, it calls for candor, making sure that the executive reaches out to other members who are aggrieved and get them to understand the need for unity and the need for them to understand the mandate that the bar has got, because that mandate is over and above the petty jealousies, not jealousies, the petty things that actually are happening within the association. The mandate is over and above the rivalry, because we should be actually serving the people, and normally we say we are the conscience, the constitutional conscience of the people. So it's a very serious mandate that calls for seriousness, and not got a splinter group within the bar, Lawyer Society. I was in Nigeria when I followed, they were launching their association. But it's a very challenging moment, and I call on the Bar Association and then other members, or those who have formed another organization, to really think of the bigger picture, to see the need for them to come together and map the way forward. We've seen a much more bigger dissatisfaction if you go to the national stage, the SLPP and the APC. Your intro, I felt ashamed, by the way, by your intro when you tried so hard to, picture the whole scenario as between SLPP and APC, like a battleground, the way you put it. So we all should feel ashamed that this is the situation, and it's true. I mean, it should really hurt everybody, and we must come together. We must come together as a group, and it's 100% literate society. So it's not like,
that's one of the most interesting.
Exactly. Without any disrespect, to say, these are
our learned colleagues acting very unlearned.
So that is why I said it's a professional society, a literate society, that I think and I believe they should be able to come together and address the issues. So even when the disagreement occurred between SLPP and APC from the national front, at least the fun ways and means, to come together to be able to, negotiate, address the issues, although there are still dissatisfactions, but at least they were able to come together and there were outcomes of those negotiations. That is what I expected the Bar Association to do. And by the way, we as the statutory body that regulates the legal profession, we made an effort to bring the parties together to be able to talk to them and see reason why they should work together.
But this is spiraling out of control so fast.
Yeah.
From the disagreement in Kenema to, now a parallel body. There's Bar Association, there's Law Society. And what we've seen, the drama, getting the police involved, preventing emergency meeting, with the situation now, Law Society is saying that their speaker allegedly had a visit from the ambassador in Kenya and was delivered a letter from the Secretary to President that her security would not be guaranteed if she gets to Sierra Leone. How bad is this getting right in front of our eyes, Fatoma?
Quickly on that, sorry, please. Quickly. I have seen the letter that the speaker wrote, the keynote speaker wrote to the Lawyers Society. I've read it, and I did not see where she made mention of any security concerns, or, what you've put out right now, to say she was prevented from coming through a letter by the Secretary to President to say your security will not be guaranteed. No, I've not seen that. What I've read is that they were intervening.
In the studio, we've also been joined by Augustine Soli Sendimara. He's in our studio too, and we'll get to him in a moment. This is going off of an interview that he had on our sister channel, Liberty TV Online, and there are posts of that. But Fatoma, how bad is all of this getting right in front of our eyes?
Well, protection of human rights and criminal justice are core elements in a rule of law system. And any governance system that really don't respect the fundamental provisions in the rule of law are doomed to deflective, yeah. And the allegation, if it is true, and as serious as it is, we should be able now, as members of the public, to really glance at the evidence, or anchors like you, if still we want to sanction it as a confidential information, producers like you, if there is an evidence, tangible one, you should be able to lay hands on it. So basically, we may not be talking based on speculation, based on emotions. We need to be speaking from the positions of fact. But however, the current situation going on in Sierra Leone is deeply emotional by people, both members of the public and government, and also the professional bodies that are involved into this. From my own perspective, I see nothing wrong for us to have another body that caters for the welfare of the membership, because the primary aim of Bar Association globally,
but should that be the right thing? Every time there's a disagreement, you form a parallel body.
No, let me conclude, then you can definitely draw a question from there. The primary objective of having Bar Association globally, or Lawyer Society globally, or regionally, nationally, is to, one, look into the welfare of the membership, their membership, looking into the welfare. Secondly, contributing towards a quality legal education in that jurisdictions or country they find themselves. Thirdly, protecting the fundamental human right of their membership and public interests. Also contribute towards reform of the laws. Over the years, we have seen the shift of the Sierra Leone Bar Association than some of these core values. Like, for example, you take a look at the International Bar Association set up in 1947. One of the primary aims also to help the UN Charter globally to foster peace and, protection and other things. And now when we are part of it, when I was in Europe before England left, when I returned to Africa, I moved from the Europe, chapter now to the African chapter. But the fundamental thing is month after month, we have a lot of opportunities to update ourselves, meaning they are empowering us. And they have interest over their membership, the welfare of their membership. Coming back home, take a look at how the law of this country recognizes the Sierra Leone Bar Association. So the disadvantages are any other para organization have to face huge challenge to get to governance table directly. I don't mean indirectly, directly. For example, the Constitution recognized the Bar Association member to sit at statutory institutions. We have another Act of Parliament recognizing the Bar Association in their provision, getting their members to sit at governance table, to have a direct conversation, meaning using this other premise I laid to contribute towards legal reform, contributes towards empowering education, of their members. So, what are we saying here? Now you have the Lawyer Society. And looking at their aims and objective, and looking at their constitution, there is an area where they close the gap upon themselves. Already, there are barriers for them to actually get to the table, to sit at governance level and have a conversation. And Bar Association, Lawyer Society across the globe, even at continental level, one of the fundamental essences to have a position. And by the way, an independent bar is an indispensable and free from any interference under a rule of law state. So it doesn't mean that you have these privileges and provisions. You can compromise the integrity and the value of the bar. So, but for us here, we have looked at trade unions, associations, as a way how political parties, sympathizers, core heart supporters, laying hands on this, so the informations that could we possibly come out from this institution as a pressure group, they would not be that pressure group. So with that, political parties, like your introduction, are now having a field day.